小朋友，大家早上好！
早上好，
欢迎回到我们星期日的线上崇拜。哇，今天可以见到你们，我真的是觉得很兴奋。你们兴奋吗？
兴奋。
OK， 让我们再一起站起来，我们开始我们的敬拜赞美。我们来唱我们的第一首歌。
Children, as we move so much just now, let's ask God to show us the way to the right path, okay? Let's sing our next song, Show Me Your Way. Show me your ways, your truth, your truth. All my hope is found in you. Show me your ways, your truth, your truth.
主耶和华，你本为大，在我们耳中听见，没有可比你的，除你以外再无神。撒母耳记下7章22节。接下来，让我们安静下我们的心，一起来唱这首诗歌。奇妙神，宇宙创造主，在你眼里，万国之上，小水滴，无人与你相比。伟大奇妙神，宇宙创造主，在你眼里，万国之上，小水滴，无人与你相比。主你真伟大，How awesome you are！主你真伟大，How awesome you are！深深爱我，捧我在你手心中。主你真伟大，How awesome you are！主你真伟大，How awesome you are！永恒的主，唯一的主，上帝。伟大奇妙神，宇宙创造主，在你眼里，万国之上，小水滴，无人与你相比。主你真伟大，How awesome you are！主你真伟大，How awesome you are！深深爱我，捧我在你手心中。主你真伟大，How awesome you are！主你真伟大，How awesome you are！永恒的主，唯一的主，上帝。主你真伟大，How awesome you are！主你真伟大，How awesome you are！深深爱我，捧我在你手心中。主你真伟大，How awesome you are！主你真伟大，How awesome you are！永恒的主，唯一的主，上帝。伟大奇妙神，宇宙创造主，创世之前为我定完美计划，我一生尽爱你。 起来祷告。亲爱的天父，感谢你在这个时候让我们依然有机会的来学习你的话语，一起来敬拜赞美你。感谢你让我们有这个时刻可以跟我们的朋友在线上的方式依然可以联系。感谢你在我们犯错的时候你依然没有放弃我们，在我们远离你的时候你依然会在我们身旁守护着我们，给我们帮助。我们把接下来的时间交托在你手中，祈求你带领，奉主耶稣的名求 Amen。
Hi children, it's me again this week. I'm so glad to see you all here today. So yeah, let's start. Our main idea for this week is being followers of Christ. People will sometimes dislike us and treat us badly, but that persecution shows that we are Christians and are going to heaven. 是的，小朋友们，我们这一个礼拜呢，我们要来谈的，我们的 main idea 是，有时候你会发现很多人他们不喜欢基督徒，甚至呢会对基督徒做出很多不好的事情。但是呢，这一些的逼迫显示出我们是基督徒，而且天国是属于我们的。Now is the memory verse. This week memory verse come from Matthew chapter 5, verse 10. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. I repeat, Matthew chapter 5, verse 10. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. 这一个礼拜的经文呢，是取自于马太福音5章10节。为义受逼迫的人有福了，因为天国是他们的。再重复一次，马太福音5章10节。为义受逼迫的人有福了，因为天国是他们的。Now this is actually our last lesson on the Beatitudes. So the Beatitude for today says, Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness. What does it mean to be persecuted? To be persecuted means to be teased, laughed at, bullied, harassed, or treated poorly because of what we believe. So sometimes when we do things like praying before eating, telling the truth when we do something wrong, showing mercy to our siblings or our friends when they are mean, or reading the Bible during a free time in a class, people will tease us or say us are weird. So when we are teased or for boldly following Jesus, we are being persecuted. 好，那这个礼拜呢，是我们最后一堂的天国报佛的课了。那今天的经文提到的是，为义受逼迫的人有福了。那什么是受逼迫呢？好，受逼迫呢，就是指我们受到别人对我们非常不好、非常不友善的对待，比如说被人家取笑啊，被人家欺负啊等等的这些。有时候我们会因为做了一些事而被别人取笑，说哎呦，这个人怎么这样奇怪的哎呦，怪咖，有没有？比如说你在吃饭前祷告啊，或者是做错事后呢，还是很老实的说出自己做错了，或者是你在下课的时间的时候，你读圣经啊，这些状况。所以当我们因为跟随耶稣而被人取笑、被人欺负、被人家说我们是怪咖什么之类的，我们其实就是在受逼迫。Now, persecutions actually happens to Christians all over the world. We may lose our best friends, being teased or bullied, or get into trouble with teachers sometimes. In some places in the world, it is actually illegal to become a Christian or even to own a Bible. So many followers of Jesus are arrested, beaten, have their homes or church destroyed, or even murdered just because they love Jesus. Isn't it a terrible thing to be persecuted just because we love Jesus and we want others to love Jesus too? But Jesus says we are blessed when we are persecuted. We receive God's favor. We can be happy when people tease us, beat us up, destroy our belonging, and even kill us because we love Jesus. It certainly doesn't seem like a blessing. But as a Christian, we see things differently. We don't see the pain of persecution. We see the reward of heaven. No matter what we go through in life, no matter how bad it is, at that moment when you're having it on your own, we have heaven to look forward to. 是的，全世界呢，很多的基督徒呢，都受到逼迫的，有时候甚至失去了好朋友啊，被欺负啊，被打啊。在一些国家呢，甚至要做基督徒或者是要拥有一本圣经都是非法的，是会被抓的。那世界上真的是有非常非常多的基督徒是被抓起来呢，被打呢，他们的家被摧毁了，教会被摧毁了，甚至有一些人是连自己的生命也没有了。所以因为爱耶稣，或者是想要更多的人认识耶稣，但是却被逼迫，这样听起来是不是非常的糟糕？但是呢，耶稣说，为义受逼迫的人有福了。身为基督徒，我们看的呢，不是受逼迫的那一件事情，而是天国的赏赐，得到上帝的喜悦。所以不管我们在逼迫的时候觉得多么的惨，多么的可悲，多么的糟糕，真的是为什么会有这样的事情的时候，我们依然要有天国的盼望。However, persecution is still a very serious thing. Christians are suffering intense persecution all over the world right now. Bible tells us that we are to remember those who are suffering because of their faith by praying for them. We should also pray for those who persecuted us. Jesus said we are to love everyone, including the people who persecuted and mistreat us. When we focus on our reward on heaven, it will make it easier to pray for people who are mean to us. 基督徒被逼迫呢，在目前的世界来讲，还是一件非常需要认真看待的事情。所以我们要为世界各地目前正在受逼迫的基督徒祷告，同时呢，我们也要为逼迫我们的人祷告，因为耶稣说我们要爱所有的人，包括逼迫我们的人。当我们有天堂的盼望的时候呢，我们就可以为对我们不好的人祷告。Right, so now let's move on to our Bible story this week. 好，接下来我们继续听我们的 Bible story.
Good morning, children. I'm Teacher Irene here. Very happy to see you again. So today we are going to go study the last beatitude. which says that blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. This is found in Matthew chapter 5, verse 10. So children, what does righteous means? Righteous means to be right with God. And what is persecuted means? To be teased means laughed at, to be bullied or treated poorly by those who don't believe. Now today we are going to talk about a man. His name is Paul.
Matthew chapter 5 verse 10, Jesus gave this beatitude. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Jesus also warned the disciples that all who would choose to follow him, that would be some who would hate them and try to hurt them because they believe in Jesus. Paul has been described as the greatest Christian of all time. He was a persecutor of Christians before his conversion to Christianity. He was destroying church. He goes to the houses of believers and dragged the men and women off to prison. Now this very thing happened to Paul, the apostles. From being a persecutor, he had become one of the persecuted. In Acts chapter 9, verse 22 to 25, Paul started preaching in Damascus and became popular among the people because he shared the powerful message of the gospel. Because of that, the Jewish leader planned to kill him. And one night, he had to escape in a basket that was lowered down outside the city by some of the believers. Paul's teaching and many miracles had happened during his ministry, brought severe persecutions from both Jews and Gentiles. In Acts 14, Paul was at Iconium with Barnabas, sharing the good news about Jesus. Many Jews and Gentiles believed and became Christians. But some of the Jews who refused to believe stirred up the people and got them to turn against Paul and Barnabas. Paul and Barnabas heard of this land and had to escape to Lystra and Derbe. In Lystra, Paul healed a man who had never walked because he was lame from birth. Paul saw his faith and told the man to stand. The man jumped up and began to walk. This miracle moved the crowd towards hearing more about Jesus, but it also made them look to Paul and Barnabas as gods. Soon, some Jews from Antioch and Iconium convinced the crowd to go along with their thinking. They stoned Paul and dragged him outside the city, thinking he was dead. Imagine how Paul must have felt when the people started throwing stones at him. He took the storming because he loved God. The disciples gathered around Paul and prayed for him, and he regained consciousness. They had not killed him. God had protected and healed Paul so that he could minister and serve him evermore. Paul took his stoning because he said he was a Christian, preached the gospel, and lived for Jesus. The next day, Paul and Barnabas went to Derbe and won many people to Jesus. Paul faced persecution again and again when he decided to become a Christian and to live for Jesus. Yet, he did not give up his faith. He knew his reward at the end of his journey on earth would be the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah, from the Bible story, we know that Paul, he'd been to many places to tell the people about Jesus. So he had faced a lot of persecutions throughout the journey. But we also see a lot of miracles things happen on him. Paul escaped from one place to another, and he even being stoned by people. But Paul, he didn't give up. He faced persecution again and again and again because he loved Jesus and he knew that his rewards at the end of his journey on earth will be the kingdom of heaven. Persecution is not a very nice and certainly not a very enjoyable part of being a Christian. There are people in the world who hate Jesus, so they take it out on Christians because Christians love Jesus. These people do not want to be Christian and they do not want others to be Christians as well. So they will do all they can to keep away from being a Christian. Jesus told us to be ready for persecution. He told us not to retaliate, fight back, but to simply love God. Trust God for everything and draw strength from God. Jesus says, if we do that, then the kingdom of heaven will be ours. 是的，刚才透过那个故事呢，我们知道保罗他到了很多地方传扬耶稣的事情，遇到了很多的逼迫，但是我们也看到很多神迹奇事发生在他身上。保罗从一个地方逃到另外地方，甚至呢被人家用石头来丢他，但是保罗并没有从此放弃，他依然继续的传扬耶稣的故事，传扬这个好消息，因为他坚持他爱耶稣，他也知道他最终的奖赏是天国。成为基督徒受逼迫呢，不是一件非常开心的事情。这世上会有很多讨厌耶稣的人，他们会对基督徒做出一些非常不好的事情，不友善，就因为我们基督徒爱耶稣。这一些不喜欢耶稣的人，他们会不顾一切的做出很多事情来阻止他们自己相信耶稣，也阻止别人去相信耶稣。但是耶稣透过圣经告诉我们说，要有心理准备，我们会遭到逼迫，但是他说不要报复，要单单爱神，这样呢，天国就是属于我们的。I'll see you again next time. 下次再见了 Bye.
Hello children. Now is question and answer time. Look at this boy here. Who is he?
Sakura Chantula, but you can just call him Zach.
Okay. So, are we ready for questions?
Yes.
Children, are you ready for questions? Okay, now we start with question number 1. What is today's beatitude? Let's think first.
Blessed are those who are persecuted.
Good, children. Are you also the same answer? Okay, now we come to question number 2. Question number 2 is, what is the meaning of righteous?
Righteousness means to be right with God.
Very good. Children, you are also very good. Now, the last question. What is our reward after being persecuted?
our reward is the kingdom of heaven.
Yes, that's it. Today we have finished our question and answer time. We see you next time. Bye.
Hello children, I'm teacher Siming. Today I will tell you a story about Stan Sack is back. Well, there's Sammy Sack and some of his friends. They seem to be talking about Stan Sack. He must be back in town. Stan was one of the meanest Sacks in the neighborhood when he moved away. The Sacks had heard that Stan had changed. Something had happened to him. Here comes Stan now. Hi, Stan, greeted Sammy. I hear you have changed since you moved away. What happened? I met a guy who told me about Jesus, says Stan. I realized how bad I have been, and I made Jesus the ruler of my heart and life. Now, I've really changed. Being mean isn't my bag anymore. Instead, it's loving him. That's very exciting news, says Sammy. It surely is, added Sid. But what are you going to tell your old gang? Mouse and Matt aren't going to like the new you. You got that right, Shorty, said Mouse. He had been standing behind a tree listening to all that had happened. Matt was with him. Got urgent now, Stanley, teased Matt. Careful now, teased Mouse. Stanley may try to take an offering. Both Sacks began laughing at their own jokes about Stan. They were going to be hard to handle. I don't have religion, explained Stan. I have a relationship with Jesus. He runs my life now, not me. Oh, sure, said Matt. Does he run your car for you too? Again, Matt fell to the ground in laughter. Let me see how much you got, said Mouse. Mouse went up to Stan and pushed him down. Then he took Stan's Bible and twisted it in the air. See you sorry Sacks later, said Mouse. We aren't through with you yet, Stanley, he warned. I'm sorry, Stan, said Sammy. I didn't know what to tell you or how to help just then. Oh, that's okay, Sammy, said Stan. As often as I treated you all the same way, I guess I have some of it coming back. I never realized how badly you have been treated until I became a Christian too. It's not all bad being a Christian, says Sid. It's just that every once in a while, we run into someone like Mouse and Matt. And to think, at one time we were all friends, says Stan. I don't understand. When Stan got to his house later that day, someone had taken some red pen and have written Christian across his front door. He had an idea who it was, but he wasn't certain. On the sidewalk, someone had written traitor. The next day, as Stan was going to meet his friends, Mouse and Matt stood in his way on the sidewalk. Where are you going, Stanley? Asked Matt. I'm on my way to meet Sammy and some of his friends, answered Stan. Well, it will cost you $10, or you will have to find a new route, Bible boy, said Mouse. I guess I'll just find another route then, said Stan as he began to leave. Wait, yells Mouse. You mean you would leave and not fight us? You used to be the meanest sack in town, Stan. You used to flatten everyone else like a pancake. What has happened? I told you, Mouse, I don't have religion. I have Jesus. He has filled my sack with love, answered Sam. Why don't you two guys try him? Look how I have changed. He's for real. Us? Matt asked in surprise. Us? Asked Miles. Are you sure you mean us? He changed me, didn't he? Asked Sam. How do we do it? Asked Miles. Just bow your heads with me and pray. That you must really mean it, says Dan. The Sags closed their eyes and prayed with Sam. Even in all their meanness, they could not ignore the change in Stan. He had been persecuted and had not given up on God or given in to the two meanest bags in the neighborhood. Hey Stan, I feel different already, said Matt. I just know I've done the right thing, said Mouse. I want my sack to be filled with love like Stan's have been filled. All at once Sammy and Sid came running to Stan. They thought they were coming to his aid, but soon found out differently. Let him go, you two sorry sacks, yelled Sammy. Let's pop them, yelled Sid. Wait, shouted Sam. Mouse and Matt have just prayed to let Jesus into their life. You are kidding, right? Quizzed Sid. No, really, assured Stan. He's right, said Mouse and Matt. We are part of your family now, part of the kingdom. Just then, all the Sags remembered the beatitude Jesus spoke at the Sermon on the Mount. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Stan would not only get a reward for not forsaking Jesus, but he got to see what Jesus meant by the kingdom of heaven. He had helped someone else become a part of King's family, King Jesus. That's the end of the story. Bye bye.
Hello， 朋友们，我是 Teresa， 现在又到了做手工的环节。我们首先要准备的材料是2个 ice cream 棒，我们可以把它用双面胶或者是用胶纸把它这样子粘起来，然后再准备剪刀、一个纸板，还有一个 marker pen， 什么颜色都可以，或者也是可以用笔芯笔。然后我们在纸板上画上一个爱心，画上了爱心之后呢，我们要在上面写的经文是，在爱心上面的经文是为义受逼迫的人有福了，因为天国是他们的。马太福音5章10节，我们一起写在爱心上面吧。为义受逼迫的人有福了，因为天国是他们的。马太福音5章10节。我们写好了之后，把它剪出来。好了，我们剪 剪出来之后，我们就拿双面胶撕一点，贴在这个卡片上的背后，再把这粘在这个十字架上。好了，那么今天的手工就做到这里啦，拜拜。